Disclaimer. We are two regular guys who love to talk Bone Thugs and Harmony. We do not represent Bone Thugs or any Bone affiliate. We are also not Bone Thugs experts. The views and information you hear in this podcast may be based on personal opinion. Please feel free to leave corrections and clarifying information in the comments. And enjoy.
You had mentioned the shows, and I think that that's something in your career and all the Mo Thugs careers that as fans we don't even consider that during the time that you guys, and specifically you and Poetic Hustlers, that had albums. Graveyard Shift had an album that didn't drop. I've heard Soulja Boy had one that didn't drop. All this material was recorded, and you guys were doing a ton of shows with Bone. You guys were doing a lot of traveling. Did you guys ever do any just like II Tru shows, or was it always like Mo Thug or like opening for Bone?
Yeah, it was basically Mo Thug or us opening for Bone. We didn't do our promotional tour because we felt as though that was just a bigger avenue, like we going for Bone. Keith Sweat was the headliner on the Mo Thug tour, and he gave up his headline spot because after Bone performed, there were nobody else left for him to perform. So we was like, we going with you. So, and again, I'm thankful for that. Because of that, I've been to a lot of every venue in every city in America. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So,
a lot of opportunity. I know that it's easy for fans and even for you guys, to be in a situation. And when I say you guys, I mean the original Mo Thugs to feel some, way about the way everything played out for you. But I will say the positives are there as well. You and Brina will forever have a fan base tied to this. You see, here we are this many years later. We're talking about II Tru. We're talking about Mo Thug. And it is great to know that you've still built a legacy that'll be there. Speaking of a legacy that's there, a fun story that Archie told me about with the Ballers Flossing video is that at the beginning, there's two kids. And he said, well, that the little girl in there is Jhaz's daughter in that video. And I've always thought that was so cool that she was in there and that you guys have this. What did she think about that, getting older and seeing like, mom in this rap video, and now she's grown up and she's this little girl in this video?
Yeah, that video, the house, that was the house I grew up in, that red and pink house, or as my grandfather said, that was rust. But that was my actual house. That video, it was something going on with the permits. They said that we couldn't park on the streets, or we couldn't have the equipment on the streets or whatever. And next door to my house lived Miss Patterson. And Miss Patterson, when we were little, we couldn't go on her grass. You couldn't walk on her bricks. And she was mean about that yard. But when she heard that maybe the video wouldn't go on because the crew didn't have anywhere to park, she said, wait a minute, I own my house. Park in the grass. I said, wow. and it's like the whole street followed suit. That was a touching moment. It was an abandoned car or something sitting like right in front of my house. And people picked that car up and walked it down the street. I couldn't make this up, man. They picked up the car and walked motherfucker down the street. But it was cold outside. It wasn't sunny. I told you shit went past time. They told everybody on the street to turn their porch lights on. They took water hoses and sprayed the houses down and shined the lights on them, like, now it looks sunny. It was girls out there that came up out there. One of them was Brina Cousin. She came up out her stuff. It's freezing, but the city turned up for us.
Shout out to Miss Patterson, who made sure that all happened, and we got that Ballers Flossing video to come out.
What? They can't do what?
always love the piece of the story with the people from Cleveland that we talked to, Mo Thugs, Bone members, anybody, you know, the connection is always there between community, with friends, with family. And I will say that someone that is often praised by the Mo Thugs and specifically been praised by II Tru is Tombstone, and that's a huge favorite of all the fans, and I know a huge favorite of Brina and you as well. Anything that any good Tombstone stories, because you know us as fans, it was so limited what we got from Tombstone, so we got to do everything off of what you guys remember. So any good Tombstone story that you could share with us fans?
It's so many stories. Wow, I miss Tombstone. He was like a real solid dude. Wow. But I remember we was looking for some weed. Wow. Yeah. We was looking for some weed. We was in California, Tombstone from California. And it's like I ain't been out here. I don't remember shit. I don't remember shit. So we riding around. It's I don't know what kind of car that was, but it was a truck, and it was dumb big because it was like II Tru, Trey, Tombstone, and whoever. Yeah, it was big as fuck. We was in something with a lot of seats. So we pulled up in the gas station, and we said, hey, you know where to get some weed? And the dude told us, he said, I can tell y'all not from here. Go back to wherever your hotel is, call the people y'all came out here to see. Wait, so then he goes back to his car to pump his gas. And I think I saw the little light bulb come on over his head. He turned around, said, you know what, I got you. Follow me. Our dumbass busting behind him. And he went down like a street with no lights and nothing. And we were like, oh, this don't look really promising. And then Rock was like, fuck that nigga, y'all, I know where we at. I know. He was like, he took us somewhere. We bought some weed from some bitches. This how we was like, this is Cleveland, Cali. We was, man, the sacks was huge. It was like this. It was like $5. No, but I was mad one day, and Tom told me, he said, Jhaz, chill out. You done already reached the climax. After the climax come the end. You done made it through the rough part. T-Rock was cold with that, like just little sayings that matched what you needed to hear or whatever at that time. He was so real. We used to take a lot of pictures. II Tru. All of us had cameras. I think me and Brina had video cameras too. Like we was on it. We wanted to capture everything that was going. We knew that it was capture worthy, I guess. But after T-Rock left, I should get that damn photo album. But it's like all of his pictures was like double exposed, and that was so scary. Like all of them, not some of them, all of them. It'll be me, Brina, and Arch, and maybe another picture from somewhere where you just see him out the cloud or whatever. Like that was really weird. T-Rock.
If you want to pause and get a damn photo album, I'm willing to wait for you to get the damn photo album. Like,
no, I'm gonna save something for another time.
That's good, because I want to make sure we bring you back on. With my new format, it's too short, and I got too much that I want to cover. But while we're on Tombstone, a song that you guys share is Two Hits and Pass, and it may be the most notoriously asked II Tru question that we get is, what's up with that Flesh and Bone verse on the II Tru song? And I'm always like, I'm not in the group. I can't tell you. Now, Archie remembers it as Flesh and Bone was just always on some extra crazy. And he's like, yeah, it's in their reverse, but he even rapped some of it kind of in reverse. Do you remember anything about that crazy Flesh and Bone verse?
Yeah, but Arch is mistaken. None of that is reverse. That nigga is special. He went in there. I used to know the words. Zip line, Ripper the Fresh Phone track. He is saying that. He said, like, we're what a bloody mess. He was like, I'm gonna grab a sack, the 50 ounce of the brown paper bag. I used to know the words, but
that's dope. They might have been us that remembered it as reversed.
Yeah, we went in there because Jeff Shirley, shout out to Jeff Shirley. He was the engineer that we connected with. We used to request him for all our shit, but we was mad. We was like, this nigga got on our verse and didn't say words. And Jeff Shirley was like, no, those are words. And he took the music out, slowed it down, and I be damned. This motherfucker was rapping. He was just rapping in 2083 Roboto Tech Bone style, you know, the shit that ain't out yet. But he was saying what?
You know, we did that Archie interview so long that it might have been us saying it was reversed, and Archie might have told us none of it was, because, you know, that's always.
That's him. That's him. If you find our album, get our album and put it on the record and put your finger on there to slow it down, and he's saying it.
It's crazy when you think about the uniqueness of a song like Two Hits and Pass with Graveyard Shift and II Tru and Flesh and Bone, because you guys all kind of have a different, more eclectic style. Now, one thing that brings to mind is the fast forward of post Mo Thug, and I've always heard the story about an opportunity that you may have had to be one of Crazy Bone's Night Riders, and that didn't quite pan out. So I wanted to touch on that because that was a very unique, different group, and I know for a long time fans believed that you were in it, but I think Sin and Mohart said, nah, Jhaz didn't end up in it. You want to tell a little bit about the Night Riders experience and you possibly fucking with Bone again after the Mo Thug deal?
Yeah, so Crazy called me. I said, what's up? Matter of fact, Sin orchestrated that. So II Tru was always real close with the shift. I don't know why, but them always been our boys. But Sin called me. He was like, Jhaz, I'm in Cali, and Aunt need a girl. And I told him, what about you? And I was like, well, you know, before we would start talking about new business, we would need to, you know, square away old business. And he said, okay, I'm gonna holler at him and I'll call you back. And Sam called me back and said, well, you know, he said, what's up? When can you come out here? I said, oh, I'm like money. So, here I'm on the plane again. This time I'm by myself.
Hold on, before you tell me any more, what did Brina think at this point? You're on a plane headed to Cali to deal with Bone. What did Brina think?
I had a couple of people that didn't really understand my decision, how I came up to that decision. She wasn't really feeling that. She wasn't feeling that shit at all.
But you're on a plane, you're headed to Cali to see Crazy Bone and the rest of the potential Night Riders.
Yes. So I get there. It's Sin is the only one I know, and all these other people. And I was like, oh, Wish was out there too. So, excuse me. While I was there, because me and Ken talked too. Well, I talked to a lot of people or whatever, but I spoke with Ken, and Ken was like, Jhaz, you out here in Cali? I'm here too. So I guess it was something with Lay and at that time. I don't know. But yeah, they was mad because that was just so weird. So I recorded a couple of songs. My expectations weren't met, and so I went home.
So you recorded a couple songs as a Night Rider.
Yeah, I didn't have any effects or anything on my voice, or I guess they hadn't been added yet. You know, it was layers to it. But after you know, we couldn't come up to an agreement, I went home. I know a couple of the songs. I heard one particular song where it seems as though they just had somebody say my part. I was like,
Yeah, you know, that group, they ended up cycling quite a few different people through that role, the female. Felicia was actually initially considered, and it wasn't a fit for her, of course. And then Larice and Thug Queen also ended up at some point playing that role. When you were out there in California, was the whole thing pitched to you? We're gonna paint our faces and dress like pirates and the whole thing. Did he kind of lay the whole plan out? And if he did, what'd you think of that?
Mo was there, so I lied. Mo was out there, but no, Sin and Mo told me. So I thought that was kind of cool too because I didn't know if I wanted to be like, hey, I'm back. So it was cool with me. I wasn't mad at that. But I never took any photo shoots or actually got makeup or anything like that. No, I just recorded.
With a career that has spanned as long as it has, even pre-Mo Thug and even post-Mo Thug, you know, one thing that the fans always ask for repeatedly are Mo Thug reunions and even II Tru reunions, Poetic Hustle reunions, things like that. Now, I know that II Tru has looked for the reunion a couple different times, and even some new material is dropped a few times. And the fans, even after all these years, still always ask, are we going to get any new II Tru music? At this point in your life, is that something that you think would happen?
I don't know. That would be up to Brina. We have a lot of unreleased things. I don't know if I don't know. It's a different platform now. We come from an era where I guess the shows back the music, so now I guess it would be more just a digital release or whatever. Again, I'll always do music, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's funny to hear you bring up that we're in a different time. You know, we always talk about on the show that the Mo Thugs, specifically in the first two albums, came up at a time where the industry was the quote unquote machine and they could build superstars overnight. And it kind of seemed like if you were hot, you were a hot commodity. Coming out of the second Mo Thugs, you guys had left, and Archie said, you know, even though we weren't signed, it was like we were still signed because nobody would touch us, nobody would fuck with us, even though we had these big records. Did you feel as if you were under some sort of blackball of some kind that prevented you guys after Mo Thugs from getting on, or were there labels that actually, you know, reached out and wanted to get you guys on?
So I don't know. Me personally, afterwards, I was presented with opportunities, but my mentality was like work for hire, work for hire, work for hire. I was coming from a mentality where some of our songs, the person who sung the backgrounds and the dude who played guitar got paid for it, but we didn't. So I was like, I'm doing work for hire too. Like, give me my money up front, and I'm gonna make it hot for you. So if you need a video or if it blow up, you still gonna have to come back and see the kid, and you know. So I wasn't. I was abstinent to contracts at that time because, like I said, the second page of our contract had nothing but figures on. Beyond the harmony for the fans, we celebrate.